Content is provided for general information only and should not be treated as a substitute for professional advice from your legal or real estate advisors. Welcome to the Real Estate Radio Hour, a forum of ideas, plans, and expert advice on all things real estate. Andy Prasky with RE/MAX Advantage Plus was named Super Agent by Minneapolis St. Paul Magazine. Chris Rooney of RE/MAX Preferred is a lakeshore and luxury home specialist. Together, they cover the Twin Cities.
And good morning. Welcome back to another edition of the Real Estate Radio Hour here on 830 WCCO. If you're new to the show, thanks for checking us out. Let me introduce you to Chris Rooney and Andy Prasky, and they will introduce their guests. Good to see you guys again. You're kind of just excited about it. You kind of wound up today.
Well, between that and the we used to have the 5-minute intro that now is about 30 seconds.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
throws us off a titch.
It does. So it allows us to have more time to talk real estate. Yeah, and take phone calls. By the way, as maybe our listeners don't know, the new listeners, that we will accept your real estate questions either by phone or by text. And before Chris and Andy take it away here, let me give you those two numbers, 651-989-9226. You can always call or send a text to 81807, 81807. Chris, what are we going to be doing today?
Well, I'll tell you what, every week we get a chance to talk with Dave Lee on Friday mornings and kind of go over our show. And Andy touched on a few things that we're going to hit on today about some changes that have happened and are going to happen that are going to have some effect on how people buy new construction and new homes. So we brought in Cindy Coble with TitleSmart. She's the president of TitleSmart, also an author.
Oh,
if you know that, she does kids books, and it says, I'm going to try to get it right. Puppeta Wumpeta?
Almost.
Close.
Puppeta Wumpeta.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Spell that.
You got to get out. You can buy that. Where can
you can buy that? You can buy that at puppabooks.com or on Amazon.
On Amazon. Okay, good. See, so we got skilled people here today, and then Travis Whitford with W.J. Bradley is also here today, and we're going to hit on some real good FHA news.
Yeah, that'll be great.
Yeah.
Lower payments. I don't know anybody that doesn't like that.
One thing that is happening, and it's something that Andy deals with a lot, is new construction. And there's some new little laws going into effect that are happening.
Yeah, we talked, like I said, with Dave yesterday a little bit about, what's affecting 2015. And as we launch into the new year, let me preface this by saying that I believe those that put this into place, the idea was to have more efficient houses, safer homes, and for the better good of all. But what happens is temporarily the guys like me go into panic mode because right now we take our average 2-story home or new construction that's probably a $375,000 build job. Now it goes to $400,000 or close to it, depending on the size. There's some because I've been talking with a bunch of different builders. We actually had our networking event on
Tuesday.
Thank you.
Yep.
I was there, I swear.
Yes.
And it was interesting to survey the room because a lot of the people in the room work with different builders, and so we were seeing.
It was Thursday. Sorry,
Thursday.
I was wrong. Yeah. Go ahead.
But the sad part is I believed you. Anyway, all right, brother. So what happens is they were talking with a bunch of different people that had their own experiences with builders. And so we're seeing everywhere from, as little as $8,000 to as much as $20,000. That's with the same pricing that we had last year. These are for the additional items that are being added to the house, the additional, foundation insulations and the additional HVAC requirements and some of the things that ultimately may make a better, home, but there's always arguments on both sides, which is a whole show in itself, I'm sure. But in the interim, this is probably your last weekend that you could, if you're thinking about new construction, if you want to save those dollars or at least explore what are the advantages of waiting, because you may want to take advantage of those changes too. So it's not necessarily, like I'm saying, it's not a bad thing. It's just that usually people shop on dollars.
I would assume those builders have been starting to implement some of that stuff already, or some builders already were doing it.
A lot of the builders that I work with have already implemented probably 75% of those items prior to the change anyway. So there's not a big, that's why I said there's a varying in the price. Some of the guys that are low-cost leaders, the big square footage for the lower money, they're going to be the ones that are affected the most, where they have the big box houses that are over 5,000 square feet. Now they'll have sprinklers and there are, a lot of different things that'll change. But that's something that your local real estate professional now is probably going to be well geared in and can educate you on. Should I rush out quick and, start that new build? Or is it okay with waiting because I'd prefer to have those items in my home anyway?
Well, I don't know about if every real estate professional will know that because, when these new little deals come out, I mean, a lot of people are lagging behind and don't really know about it. I mean, I've had some where I've gotten purchase agreements that are 2 years outdated, that you're getting. So what other suggestions would you have for people? I mean, I'm sure all the model homes and people sitting in them would know.
Yeah, and the thing is that the Parade of Homes is going to provide an awesome opportunity. That's why not only am I excited, I've seen a lot more traffic the last couple weekends that are out there from our sales staff, but we're starting to see that the models that are built probably are going to be at the lower price. So the replacement, so there's going to be a lot of really good deals on models. And a lot of people are preferring to buy something they can tangibly see. So I think it's going to be a great time to hunt for a model home right now, or something that's in the existing inventory to get yourself a great deal like we did a couple years ago.
People are doing a lot more specs, too, to get them in, I'm sure.
Well, some of the builders I worked with were pulling up to 10 permits last week just to get the houses started at the lower cost, because unfortunately for us, in our industry, a lot of people don't know how to shop as a consumer. How do you shop builders? Is it the designer? Because the decorating is what fools a lot of people. You walk in the model home and it's gorgeous, but if you take all that decorating out of there, maybe the house isn't so great. What's behind the walls? What are they using for construction practices? So for me, I don't know. I mean, I think it's going to be a toss-up between what happens and where we go and how the industry affects it, but there will be a lot of, like I'm saying, model home hunting will be the best I've seen in a long time, with low interest rates, models that are priced, from last year's pricing, and so I think this parade will be fantastic.
Yeah, well, a couple other things that we're going to touch on today and why we brought Travis and Cindy in. One is the FHA rates. There's mortgage in regards to mortgage insurance. There's been what was it, last year, I think, that it came out that mortgage insurance stays on the loan forever.
Yeah, it was June of 13, I believe.
Yeah, and now they've made some changes in the actual expense of how much that mortgage insurance was, because it's not cheap. To be able to have it.
Depending on the size of the loan, I mean, it could be like a whole extra car payment in your mortgage. But just last week, they announced the annual premium was reduced from 1.35 to 0.85, and what that means is essentially it's about a 40% reduction in the monthly private mortgage insurance piece of the payment. On a $200,000 loan, you basically are going to be saving $83 a month in just cheaper monthly mortgage insurance.
Or you can spend more money. I mean, seriously, how much
allows you to qualify for?
Yeah, if you qualify for more, I mean, $83. I mean, that's another 10, 15 grand.
About $5 per $1,000 that you're borrowing.
So you can buy Andy's new construction that he just inflated the price on.
Yeah, no, but honestly, the prices are being held. It's the new items that are being added that have increased the price. It's not the builders marking stuff up. But what I find interesting is, like, my old grandfather, Charles Prasky, would have told me, hey, you take that $83 and you apply that towards your principal reduction each month, and now that payment's going to get paid. And sometimes you think about that stuff, and especially when times are a little scarier, and you're like, wouldn't it be nice to have that house paid off? Wouldn't it be nice? And we don't think about it when times are good. Money's coming in, and you're like, oh, I'm going to buy the boat, or we're going to finish the basement. And I'm like, applying that $80 or $100 a month and whittles down that mortgage over the years, and it's
could make up an extra payment a year and turn a 30-year loan into 23 and change.
I've got a customer right now. I just sat down with. The guy's 32 years old. His house is paid for.
Wow.
I know, and that you don't hear that very often. I was really impressed with that. So.
All right, we have a text message maybe we could field here before we break. We'll be putting the house on the market this spring. Would you recommend replacing the appliances?
Andrew?
Yeah. Well, that's one of the things, like when we do house, rehabs, is that's one of the first things that people can relate to is, oh, look at the shiny new appliances. How fun would it be to cook in this kitchen? I think it creates a great environment for someone walking in, and it's something that they'll touch and use probably every day. So, yes, I would put new appliances in.
Yeah, and I always talk, in general, yeah, I would too. But if it's like the only money you got to do stuff with, then it's kind of, hey, I got to look at that house to be able to decide that, maybe those appliances aren't the best thing to do. Maybe it's knobs on your cabinets and
a new furnace.
Putting a new floor in or a furnace or updating stuff like that, or painting.
Yeah. Well, and they did say, I think, that they were selling their home. And so
right.
Those are all great items too, Chris. And that was something we touched on a little bit last week before you list. And that is so true. Just putting that final coat, the feel-good stuff as you walk in the door, the hardwares and the paints and the colors, the smells, all that stuff is important.
And do you see when you're going in with buyers that sometimes they just can't get past it? They look at that kitchen, oh my God, it's white appliances, no way. They don't even think how they can switch them.
We were out in Edina. We walked into a house, beautiful home, and they stopped at the door and go, ooh, dog.
Oh.
And you can see the beautiful kitchen out of the corner of your eye, and they're like, I don't know, let's just skip this one.
Really?
It baffled me. That dog smell stopped them at the door versus having like 03 Magic or somebody that, we've got some other contributors that are, the guys that we've worked with in the past over the years that can actually come in and for under $500 have that problem go away.
That's one of the 5 senses, smell. It's a big thing.
Yeah. Sight, yeah.
I'll tell you what, I smell a break. Let's
Ooh, he's good.
Sorry.
Let's do this right here and invite our CCO listeners to join us. If you have a real estate question, 651-989-9226. You can fill that line now or send us a text like some folks are doing, 81807. It's 33 degrees now here on 830 WCCO.
Hi, this is Deb Newell back with your 30-second property management update. It's 2 a.m. Do you know how your property is? Let the professionals at Real Time Leasing help manage all aspects of your property at all hours. For the experts in property management, visit rentalsbydeb.com. I'm Deb Newell, and this was your 30-second property management update.
Good morning. Welcome back to this portion of our Real Estate Radio Hour. If you have a real estate question, 651-989-9226, or you can send a text to 81807. Chris and Andy?
Yeah, we're going to talk with Cindy Coble with TitleSmart and Travis Whitford, W.J. Bradley. And another thing that's coming up later this year, I don't know exactly when, but that people know that when you go to a closing, there's a HUD statement. Mm-hmm. And the HUD one basically outlines all the costs that are associated with the transaction, and people see the number that they have to pay, and we all sign it and do all the other documents. Well, that's going to change a little bit. How's that going to change, Cindy?
Well, come August is when everything's going to go down, and they are going to make a requirement that the new closing disclosure is what it'll be called, and it's a combination between the lender's truth in lending disclosure and the settlement statement. It's now going to go from legal size to letter size, not that people care about that.
Finally.
Yeah, now that truth in lending statement, though, doesn't that have to get out earlier to the people right now?
Well, yeah, there'll be the preliminary one that'll go out when Travis takes the loan application.
Okay.
And then at closing, we also
Do
have
another
one.
one, yep.
So, and it's the first document that you're supposed to go over after the settlement statement. Mm-hmm. So now that will have to be out to the customer 3 days prior to closing, or the closing would have to be rescheduled. So I'm guessing we're going to be rescheduling a lot of closings
initially. Isn't now the lender now filling out the HUD versus the title company? Is that not one of the changes too, or am I just pulling that out of the sky?
I think some of the lenders aren't sure how they want to handle it, or who wants to be responsible for that technical delivery of the settlement statement. But I'm guessing that it's still going to be us title companies because we read the purchase agreements.
Okay.
I mean, we read every page of those purchase agreements because our job is to prepare the settlement according to those terms, and the lender's usually sometimes just reading the parts that pertaining to the loan.
I mean, a lot of people that have had real estate transactions know sometimes with a refinance you don't really know, but when there's a purchase, sometimes you're waiting until that last minute, that, hey, okay, this thing just got funded. And this is basically saying that, hey, they're going to see it 3 days in advance.
Right.
So that's going to be a big change.
So just for the listener that maybe isn't excited about what we're talking about, with the HUD statement, what would be a change, for an example, that would create a delay? What could be put on there? I know it has to do with numbers. What would have happened at the last second that now is a surprise or something that would delay that closing?
Well, like on a lender side, let's say you blew your lock for whatever reason, and then there was a lock extension fee that was added, and that wasn't disclosed. It wasn't disclosed accurately in time, and now all of a sudden their initial good faith estimate shows the loan charges are A, and now at closing it's A plus a certain dollar amount. That could.
Or maybe it went down. I mean, that could be a good sign too, right?
Yeah, but if it goes down, though, it's a benefit to the borrower.
Right, that's what I mean.
Yeah,
so it's worth waiting a day to close.
Causes a delay if it improves the borrower situation.
The biggest problem would be clerical errors.
Yeah.
The closer whips that settlement statement together quickly because she's in a hurry, doesn't get it approved. Nobody double checks it. It goes out. They find out it's wrong. It has to be redone.
But typically, what's happening though at a closing, if that HUD was to change, I mean, the underwriter basically approves it and sends it back. Now what we're saying is that if something like that was to happen during a closing that's after August, you might be coming back in 3 days.
Right.
Because it's all about disclosure, that the buyer is understanding what it is. And I'll tell you what, had a lot of times where that HUD statement or that number that's coming back to you is like, oh my God, I wasn't expecting that. I didn't think it was that much. It doesn't happen a lot, but it does happen.
I think it'd be a good time for most real estate agents listening, and I'm sure we're not all shocked, but we should learn how to read that HUD with our client, because the thing is, I can't tell you how many closings where it's a mystery to the agent sitting across the table as this HUD is slid out and they've got that look on their face.
Yeah.
And maybe that's something that we can all do for 2015 is get that HUD lined up, have the agents also in the consumer's corner, because ultimately it's designed to protect the consumer and have a better experience for the consumer with no surprises. And I feel that would be also kind of falling under the agency representation. So,
well, you would be surprised at how many people or real estate agents do not know how to read that settlement statement.
Not these guys, though.
Yeah.
They're here for a reason. These guys know what they're doing.
Yeah, all right.
Oh, yeah.
Hang on. We have to take a break here. And as we head to this break, this happened a few minutes ago. We heard from the Minnesota State Patrol Lieutenant Nielsen. Icy roads in northwestern Minnesota from St. Cloud to the North Dakota border. They say avoid unnecessary travel until conditions improve. This is from St. Cloud to the North Dakota border. If you can, avoid any travel until conditions improve. In the Twin Cities, 33 degrees. We might hit near 39 today.
Being a nosy neighbor is a good thing when you use the free real estate services on realestateradiohour.com. Nosy Neighbor gives you local market updates customized for your neighborhood. It's free with no obligation. So it's okay to be a nosy neighbor at realestateradiohour.com.
This is Jade Meyer with your Busy Web Buzz Tip. Let's get started on the new year with an overview on the big dogs in social media. Facebook is the biggest and easiest way to get the word out about your business. Include pictures and videos for the most benefit. Instagram is the up-and-comer in social media and allows users to upload stylized photos and videos. LinkedIn is your best corporate connection and is great for business networking. And Google Plus has some great features including Auto Awesome for photos and videos and Hangouts for video conferencing. And if you're wondering what to say on all those networks, here's a quick rule of thumb. 50% of your posts should be conversational, 30% should be informational with handy tips and tricks, and 20% should be asking people to actually do something. I'm going more in depth on how to create a social media strategy in my Busy webinar this Wednesday at noon. Visit busyweb.com/events to register and attend. That's BIZZYWEB.com/events, or give us a call at 612-4BUSY-O. That's 612-424-9990. Remember, at BusyWeb, we help you generate buzz without getting stung.
And welcome back to this portion of the Real Estate Radio Hour. If you happen to have a real estate-related question, we can take them by phone or by text as usual. 651-989-9226. Text number is 81807. Should we have we had a text message? Let's see here. All right, guys, here's one. In a $550,000 to $600,000 home on the market, is it more important to have a tub or adequate closet space in the master? There is a medium shower in the master and a tub shower in the family bath in the same floor. We are considering taking out the large whirlpool in the master and replacing it with a closet.
Well, let's go to the luxury home expert right across the street here, Mr. Rooney.
Yeah, I'll tell you what. It depends what closet's there already, but there's not a problem getting rid of the tub in the master bath, but it might not be. I mean, after you take out the master bath and repair all the tile and then re-add onto the closet and do all that, I don't know if there's the payback there to be able to change it.
Well, what about
it might be better just to put in better storage, California closet type stuff.
Okay, that's where I was going. I was going to say that now you've added a feature to the home that now makes it that $500,000-$600,000 caliber home, I would think.
But a closet is a big deal.
Oh, for
in
sure.
the master bedroom. It really is a big deal. And, tubs are starting, as long as you have a tub, at least the kids can go into it. I mean, some people still like a tub, but there's a lot of times that you get, we've never used it.
Right. Yep.
All right.
651-989-9226 or send a text. Some folks like that method, 81807, 81807 for your text messages.
Okay.
Again, we'll be here till just about 11 o'clock this morning and still have time for your calls. I'll tell you what, Kathy in Plymouth just rang on the line. Kathy, what's your question, please?
Hi. I just got in on kind of the tail end of what you guys are talking about, the mortgage insurance, that it would be, I think, less of a percent that people would pay? Is that on just new mortgages or existing?
It's for all FHA case numbers that will be established on January 26th. So whenever you register an FHA loan, you have to kind of create another loan number behind the scenes with FHA. And this goes for all purchases and for refinances and anything. So it can be a refinance mortgage too.
So if Kathy has a FHA mortgage right now at the higher mortgage insurance premium, she can go ahead and refinance and she'll get the lower one.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yes.
And probably a better rate.
Yeah. I mean, and you can also do it as a FHA streamline refinance too, and basically as long as you made 6 payments is so closing in what would that probably be August, I think. If you closed in August or before, you could easily do a streamline refinance right now.
Okay, that answers my question.
Might be a little stampede of business coming your way, I'd think, with that kind of a deal out there.
Expecting that.
You're not kidding. I mean, that makes a big difference. And I'll tell you what, in some equity in those homes, probably the FHA homes have gone up as well. So, I mean, you might be getting...
Yeah, with that FHA streamline, part of the rule is you have to save at least 5% off of your previous payment when you compare principal and interest and mortgage insurance to the new principal and interest and mortgage insurance. And just the reduction in the monthly mortgage insurance premium is going to be enough right there. Even if your rate goes up an eighth.
Well, we talked about that. They just went through the roof over the last couple of years to kind of subside the foreclosure, tidal wave that hit us a few years ago, and now that's cleaning itself up. But to insure those mortgages, the companies are like, wait a minute, if we're going to get back into the mortgage insuring business, we got to make it worth our while. So premiums went through the roof. I mean, there were some of them that had over doubled, and so this would be a fantastic tool.
Yeah.
Again, wow.
I mean, FHA, they lost a lot of money during this, downside, and
yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
what a cool
I'm
tool!
excited for
I'm good for you guys.
No, that's good. Say, we've talked about replacing those appliances and then maybe doing the closet versus a tub. There was a text actually that Andy Lindis wasn't able to get to, and it talked about discussing the pros and cons of a tankless water heater for a 4-bedroom home. And there's currently 2 adults, but thinking ahead for resale value. And so I was going to ask you, Andy, what do you think of it installing a tankless water heater?
Okay, this is I'm not a tankless water heater salesperson, but I would say this: it's nice to have on-demand water. When you have a teenager that likes to take a 4-hour shower, it's probably nice. Not that you should do that, but I mean, when it comes to filling tubs, I've heard that people that are used to that, just on the edge of scalding hot, doesn't get achieved with the tankless. So if you like that really, really hot, bath, sometimes that doesn't quite get there because it's on demand. So versus a tank that just sits there and gets overheated. And
how about if you're going to replace a water heater with a tankless one? Is that a good thing to do for resale?
Oh, I wouldn't spend the extra money personally, but it depends on the house. It depends on the situation.
Doesn't it depend on how many people live in that house?
Well, let me put it this way, Denny. Where I see tankless happening in our new construction is where they'll put it on the second level for the hot tub, or they'll put it out there for the bigger. So it's on demand, it's quick, it's hot. You're not wasting water. Versus if you've got a 3-story tall house and you're putting a new tankless in the basement, it still has to travel up 30, 40 feet to get to those bathrooms. So you're wasting tons of water. So.
Well, here's another thing, too, is that it's also a differentiator. Another thing that you can say that, oh, my gosh, or a justification, how you justify value. Because when you're looking at a house, okay, I like it. Now it's all about, okay, I got to justify this price. Right. Oh, it's got a tankless water heater. That must be $20,000.
Well, and just as a disclaimer, I do think it's a fun widget, and I do think that there's a value in having tankless water heaters because I don't need the Tankless Water Heater Association calling me. But I do. So I see the value in the item. I just think it every situation is different. Just like, motors in cars, you need different sizes of motors as well. And so I think that there's the application for the whole house versus the actual unit. If you had them in every bathroom, so it was right there and you're just using half a gallon of water to wash your hands versus 5, I think that'd be a great idea.
Yeah, it'd be a little spendy to put them all in there. Well, but anyways, hey, I was going to ask Cindy Cobalt with TitleSmart. Okay, so us as agents, we work together and we get it for the closing, and we're dealing with the buyers and everything, and we usually end up at that table, and we got about an hour together. But there's a lot of other things that the customer is calling you guys about as well. What are some things that that you see that are maybe misunderstood from the buyers that they're not really getting through the process?
Possession is a big question that we get, and I'm actually surprised about this because they sign a full purchase agreement. But I do get a lot of people that call and say, well, when we come to the closing, do we have to have the keys and be out of the house and be ready to hand that over? And there's a whole section right in the purchase agreement about that. So I have to go and look and then go over it with them.
Yeah, and that's I'll tell you what, it's kind of a thing that when you're dealing with pricing, and you're dealing with a closing date, and you're dealing with financing, and then they have to have an inspection, and then there's an appraisal, and then you have to have title work, and that's kind of one of the things they don't think about. Is at the end is, oh, geez, I got to move out now. Now when do I got to get out,
right.
And what do I bring to closing? So that is that's interesting, and I think us realtors have to do a better job of that.
And maybe this fall when we have the new 3-day waiting period, it might be smart to put on your time of possession. Maybe it is 24 hours now instead of at closing, because everyone wants to put immediate. That means the U-Haul or the Alexander's mobility team is sitting there with their trucks full, ready to deliver. And if they can't deliver, it's 3 days of storage fees. And so, for me, that's an interesting situation to be put in. So
yeah, they do take up our entire parking lot when they're parked there for the closing.
Absolutely. The kids are out there playing ball in the parking lot, and it's ready to go to the new house.
Bring their dogs in.
Sorry, kids.
I just have to quantify something because someone's texted me that I'm insane that it's $20K for a tankless water heater. I was joking. Okay.
Well, now, if you have 17 bathrooms like Rooney has, it is.
Yeah, right. Yeah. All right. And a big guest house. Okay. Say, we have to take a break, but we have more show to come. If you do have a real estate question, some are coming in by phone or by text, 651-989-9226, or send a text 81807. We'll be back with more of the Real Estate Radio Hour here on 830 WCCO.
Like listening to our show? Are there additional questions we didn't get to? Find us on Facebook or visit us at realestateradiohour.com. That's realestateradiohour.com.
Chris Rooney here. We all understand the importance of first impressions, right? And when it comes to your home, then the outside first is the first thing that we can judge. I've been in real estate for 24 years, and I can't tell you how many times the exterior of a home makes or breaks the deal. Plain and simple, if your home is eye-catching from the outside, everyone's going to want to see inside. When it comes to curb appeal, I always make one call, and that's to Pat Remick at Greenside Landscaping. I've been using and recommending Greenside for years, and I'm always impressed with not only results, but the whole process. They take my ideas, they enhance them, and they show me a detailed plan before they start the work. This way there's no surprises. It's always done on time and in a very professional manner. To top it off, they always guarantee their work. Call Greenside now and get to planning. Even with your snow-covered lawn, they can get you on track and are the experts you can trust to time out your project perfectly. So when that snow melts and the sun is shining, you can be ready to amp up your home's first impression. Give them a call at 952-890-5303. That's 952-890-5303. Or find them on our website at realestateradiohour.com. And make sure to tell them that Chris Rooney sent you.
And welcome back to this portion of our Real Estate Radio Hour. We have a few minutes left of the show. We welcome your real estate questions either by phone or by text. Here's the number, 651-989-9226. And we'll get back to the phones in just a moment. Or send a text, 81807. Laura, you want to grab that text?
Yeah, we have a text message question here for Travis. Short sale 3 years ago. Have a different house with $50,000 equity loan at 6.99%. No mortgage. Would we be able to get a low-interest mortgage and get rid of high interest? Andy did our short sale.
How about that?
All right.
Well, you're going to be bound to some restrictions with the short sale being, only 3 years old, which is could limit some options. I mean, it depends on, what led to the short sale. Was there some extenuating circumstances that came into play? Then you can, refinance that into a conventional first mortgage and save some interest. But if it was, quote unquote financial mismanagement that led to the short sale, you might have a difficult time trying to lower that interest.
Does it matter that those people are absolutely fantastic people? Because they were so fun to work with, by the way.
Unfortunately, doesn't quite work.
Very loyal CCO listeners. Hi, guys.
Right.
Good to hear from you again.
Good deal. Thank you.
Yes.
I know we've got a few minutes to go here. There's Beverly is a caller on our news line. Go ahead, Beverly. What is your question, please?
I don't have a question, but I do have a statement following one that you people made earlier. When a person is looking around to buy a home and they go in and it's so beautifully decorated.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
When we bought our home, I would not go into a home that had a decor, already done. I wanted it empty so I could visualize my furniture in there. So I have never gone into a home, and I can't get my friends to agree with me.
Beverly, though, that's the beauty of interviewing different agents, because you're going to get different agents, just like Chris and I, where we have different opinions on certain things. And you're going to have an agent that's going to, for a lot of years, we did not have houses that were vacant. And then we went through the foreclosure crisis where everybody's like, oh my gosh, these houses are so cold and not welcoming. And not everyone has that, ability to visualize like you do, Beverly. And so that's actually a gift, by the way. So that's a good thing. So when you go through a property and you can visualize how your furniture would look, that's great. And then you just got to kind of play the odds. Would more people like it with decorating or? And I'll tell you this, we're actually doing a private neighborhood open houses, actually as we speak, down in Pleasant Avenue, down in South Minneapolis. We VIP all the neighborhood in, and we decorate the houses. We have the interior decorators there, and it's a lot of fun. Kind of becomes an event for the neighborhood, almost like a block party. Mm-hmm. And anyway, to us, we have amazing success with that, because then people that walk in, they say, oh, that's a dining area. That's the sitting area. And so sometimes, you just got to play the odds.
We wanted to ask Travis, because he's a real positive about this year of 2015. What makes you think so positively?
I think 2015 is going to be a great year for the housing market, and there's a few things that come into play with that. Yet, unemployment's gone way down here over the last year. There's been some significant job growth in that millennial age group, and that's the target for the first-time home borrowers. And with all the reductions in the FHA mortgage insurance premiums to make housing more affordable, and Fannie and Freddie bringing back the 3% down financing options, I think that all just stacks up to be a great year for first-time home buyers.
Mm-hmm. Now, Andy, you and Chris a couple of weeks ago on the show said something about it was like Christmas Eve and New Year's Day. You're getting phone calls right away. Is it like suddenly the momentum is even earlier? Is that carried through or not yet?
Yes, it was like a switch. We you could tell when people were at home and taking their vacation holiday breaks. And the online traffic for different searches, a lot of times we have back-end systems on those websites that we can see what's being clicked on, what's being viewed, what's being shared. And it was actually so exciting because November, I won't kid you, we were all a little bit nervous going into November. And I think what happened was this is our first year of where we're going to go back into a cyclical selling season where the winter is slow, the spring gets busy, middle of summer gets slow, fall gets busy, based on how people live, because we're not buying based on demand right now. A couple years ago, we were buying because the house across the street was a good deal. Let's buy it for the kids or buy it for ourselves as an investment. Didn't matter what month because you wanted to buy that house. Now people are letting their lifestyles dictate when they're buying or selling their home. So we're seeing a lot of people coming to us now asking for listing advice, for an example. Chris and I talked about that before the show, and having some of these seminars that we're putting on coming up very soon that talk about what are the top things you guys can do to prepare your house to return the maximum dollars. And we're even going to, that'll be coming out fairly soon. So, so anyway.
Well, you know what? We've got a minute to go here in the show. We thank you for listening. But one thing we haven't mentioned this hour is the Real Estate Radio Hour website, which is a pretty doggone good resource. You guys, I get these little, what would you call them, notifications?
Yep.
Was it monthly?
We set you up, I think, on a monthly visit.
Yeah.
And the thing is this, it sends you everything around your house where you live, so you know what's selling. And it's free, and nobody hassles you. It's a resource that we like to provide to the listeners for free. Keep you in the loop so you can feel like you know what's going on in your own neighborhood.
Which is good to do. And more people are doing that every day.
I think the word nosy neighbor kind of gives it a bad I don't know. I'd call it the informed neighbor.
I like that.
Yeah, me too.
From the good
But
neighbor
I lost
here.
the vote.
All right. Tell you what, thank you all. Let me give you that information if you want to check it out. As I said, it's a tremendous resource. It's realestateradiohour.com, all one word, realestateradiohour.com. They also have a hotline if you need other questions answered, 612-499-4828. You can call. The phone calls will be returned. 612-499-4828. 4828. 4828. 4828. 4828. 4828. 4828. 4828.